Hi everybody, John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and today's unit overview is going to be looking at the M36 Jackson from the new American Bulge book. So we're going late war, and we're talking American tank destroyers, some of my favorite vehicles in the game. Okay, so the Americans aren't wanting for tank destroyers. They've got the M10, which is a mainstay since mid-war. They've got the M18 Hellcat, which was also introduced in the Bulge book. And then they've got the M36 Jackson. Now, one way to think of the Jackson is kind of an upgraded M10, because in a lot of ways that's what it really was. Similar chassis, but with a new turret and a massive 90mm gun, replacing the 76mm gun that the M10 had. In game terms, that makes this tank, one, much more capable against its opponents, and two, more expensive. So let's dive into the stats first and talk a little bit about what the M36 has. So in the book, the M36 is hit on a 4+. It's careful. Front armor is a 5, side armor 2, top armor 0. So very similar again to an M10. Its motivation is a confident 4+. It is a self-propelled gun, so it has a really bad counterattack rating, in this case only a 6, but it does have protected ammo, so it's remounting on a 3+, which is very nice. Its skill is veteran 3+. However, because it's a self-propelled gun, it has that rule. It has an assault of 4+, so that's actually not bad as far as assaulting goes. You really aren't going to counterattack much on a 6, but if you need to pull off a desperate charge, you're killing your opponent on a 4+, infantry or gun teams. Speed wise, it's the same as a M10, pretty much the same. Tactical 10, terrain dash 14, cross country I think is 18, roads 20, 3+ cross check. Now the big difference between this and an M10 is going to be in the firepower. This has like I said, a 90mm cannon, which has a range of 36 inches. Rate of fire halted 2, moving 1, anti-tank 14 with a 3+ firepower. So that anti-tank 14, we'll talk about that in a second. Then just to round it out, it also has a 50 cal AA machine gun. Stats of a 50 cal, of course, are halted 3, moving 2, rate of fire, anti-tank 4, 5+ firepower, and self-defense AA, so they can protect themselves a little bit. All right, let's talk about the main gun, because that's probably the most important thing when we're talking about this this tank. The AT-14, the Americans do not have a lot of AT-14 in their list. The highest on, typical highest, at least in any numbers, would be AT-12 that the 76mm cannons were bringing in the D-Day book. And then you could still, you could take an M10 company and get a lot of them, but still the 12 is not ideal when you're fighting against things like Tigers or Panthers. 12 is better than a 10, anti-tank 10, which is a Sherman 75mm, but still with a Tiger with a front armor of 9 at range, a front armor of 10, anti-tank 12, you can do the math as well as I can, means that Tiger's passing or at least equaling on a 2+, which is really nice. AT-14 from the Jacksons you're seeing here really changes that and makes it scary for German players, particularly for those big cats. So that front armor 10 because of range versus AT-14 means 50% of the time they're going to fail their armor roll. And they're only going to equal on a 4+, so they're just bouncing on a 5 or 6, which is, so think of it as the 33% chance of bouncing a shot against one of these guys. And that's, again, against a Panther or a Tiger. So the odds of killing big cats is dramatically bigger when you jump from AT-12 to AT-14. Now, in the new book, the Hellcats and Shermans, anything with a 76 can take the high velocity anti-tank rounds, which bump them up to AT-13, which is better, but still AT-14 is really a good sweet spot against those against those tigers and panthers. So you pay for that, though. These units are pretty pricey. I think a unit of 4 runs about 24 points, something like that. But they're definitely capable. The unit also has the Seek, Strike, and Destroy special rule, which basically means it's kind of like the German special rule, a little bit more restricted. You can attempt a shoot and scoot, say that right. People correct me all the time. It's shoot and then scoot, not the other way around. But if you attempt a scoot and shoot movement order, if you can try to do that if you blitzed successfully. So in essence, you're hiding, you successfully blitz up to a hedge and shoot, and then you can try to scoot and shoot to fall back. You're going to need to pass 2 skill tests, which for the M36 is going to be a 3+, but you're going to need 2 3+s to successfully pull that off, or a failed blitz or a failed scoot and shoot might leave your tanks exposed. I'm kind of torn on that. A 3+ blitz is always risky because if you fail it, you're going to have to move, but it's going to be harder to hit, and you won't be able to try to scoot and shoot. So it's a toss-up. It's dangerous for these guys, and it's one reason why you might want to hang on to a lucky card to ensure that you, or at least give you some insurance on passing that. All right. So not only can you take the Jackson as the version I just spoke of, but there are some upgrade cards you can add to a Jackson. The first one is you can take the M36B1. Now this is a command card. So basically, instead of being on a M10 hull like this is, they put them on Sherman hulls. And you get Sherman equivalent armor. So you upgrade, instead of front armor 5, like these guys, you would upgrade to front armor 7. And a side of 3 instead of a side of 2. So a pretty cool... a pretty cool upgrade card, if you ask me. I don't know if I would take those because I'd have to model a whole other group of these with a different hull, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And you also get, I guess, an additional machine gun as well there, because you get your hull-mounted machine gun. Okay, you can also take top turret armor. So, and this is true for the M10 as well. It applies to both of them. But basically, it gives you a top armor of 1. Now, both of those upgrade cards, command cards, do add to the price. So, you can basically turn these guys almost into AT-14 Shermans with the front armor 7, top armor 1. No stabilizer, but again, AT-14. Nice, nice. But you're going to pay a lot for that. Okay. The formation you can take is, they do have an M36 Tank Destroyer company in the book. So normally most tank destroyer companies have an HQ of the M20 Scout Car unit. And then you can take up to 3 tank destroyer platoons. The first one has to be the M36. The second mandatory one can be the M36, or you can take a platoon of M10s, and the same with the third platoon. So if you wanted to, you could conceivably run 12 of these bad boys in a single formation, which is pretty scary. I do like that they give you the option of mixing the M36 Jackson with the M10, because the Jackson can be so expensive. I think that's a good compromise. If you don't want to spend too many points, maybe you just have 1 platoon of Jacksons, 1 platoon of M10s, and save a few points there. Maybe slap that high velocity AP on the M10s. Okay, and then also in that formation, you could take up to 3 M20 Scout sections. The tank destroyer formations aren't as robust, I think, as the other formations in the book, American formations. They don't have quite as many units to take, but those scout platoons, the security sections, are really fine to anchor a platoon. The security sections aren't very expensive, and you can hide them very easily. So you just tuck them away, and you don't need to worry about your formation breaking for a very low overhead. So it's not a bad investment. I think the Hellcat company is better, but you could also do it with this company where you run dual companies, maybe a M36 formation supporting an infantry formation. Might be something fun to play with. So that's kind of an overview of the M36 Jackson, the AT-14 gun that it brings to the table. There's, in the Bulge book, you do have more access to AT-14. I think the patents have AT-14 as well. Your gun now matches Sherman's your gun now matches Tigers and Panthers at AT-14. You can't take a hit with that front armor 5, but you can definitely terrorize and threaten your opponent, which is pretty cool. I do like the Jackson. I think it is a cool looking tank. The turret is just so massive and beefy, particularly these these are the older metal and resin models, and I really like them. I haven't built any plastic ones Jacksons yet, and I don't know if I will. I think I'm just going to hang on to these ones, but I really like how they look. So Jacksons for the win. All right, guys, this is going to be just a short one, but I wanted to get it out because I saw the Jacksons on the shelf, and I'm like, oh, I really want to play with those. So hopefully you'll be seeing them in a battle report upcoming soon, and hopefully they'll do well. They'll take it to the Germans. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think about the M36 Jackson down in the comments below. Have you had a good experience with them, either playing with them or facing against them? Do you think that the upgraded cost and AT-14 is worth it, or is it just better to take cheaper Hellcats? If I was playing competitive and I had to choose, I would probably go with the cheaper Hellcats and the AT-13 upgrade, the high velocity upgrade card. But I think the Jacksons just look really cool, and I think they, it's another tool in the toolbox, another fun thing to add to your army. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do consider giving us a like and subscribe. Click that bell to receive notification when we release new content. And also, if you like our Flames of War content, do check out our Patreon, where patrons get access to a Flames of War battle report exclusive to them every month. Thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.